Welcome to this afternoon afternoon here in Italy. And I don't know where you're based, but I'm really pleased to have you to host this hour and a half where we stay together, and we're going to talk about hair cutting. We're going to basically talk about core cutting, which is one of our literally I would call this the most advanced principle-based cutting seminar. And of course, today we're not going to go through everything, but we just tease you a little bit just to have you an idea of what it is, what is talking about, and what type of content is shared in this seminar. Just before we go through some content, let's say theoretical content, and then we're going to cut some here. I just want to make sure that you also know that today with me helping and supporting, I have one of my great colleague, also great friend, which is part of the Davide's artistic team, Gianluca Grechi, which is co-hosting with me, and he will, in case, support for answering, for sharing some knowledge. And so I want to, in advance, say thank you to Gianluca. Hello, Gianluca. You are allowed. You can intervene anytime you want.
Hi, everyone.
Also, I can see connected, I guess, from UK, our fantastic artist, Jesus Oliver. Welcome.
Ciao.
I can. Oh, Jesus. Thank you for being with us today. I see. And I see also some other people, which it doesn't come out the name, so only Galaxy or Note or other stuff. So I want to say welcome to everyone. Today we want to go quite quick into the content of the class, let's say, of this digital class, which is interesting. Also, I want to share a bit of excitement because I'm back in the village. We are basically in the room number 3 at the first floor of the village. As you can see, behind me, there is the garden. I mean, you can see through the window a bit of botanical garden, which is fabulous in this period. All the flowers is super green. It's really fantastic. Today the weather is not perfect, but it's fine, and I have a big room only for myself. Okay, so basically core cutting. Let's go back to the topic, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see a bit of theoretical part, which is I think it's important to address before moving to the hair. So. So basically, we are here. What I did collecting these few slides are literally different type of looks, which they are for sure not mean to be the most modern, the most avant-garde, the most old one. It's literally just a mix of. It's just a mix of hair cutting and color, different shapes from quite layered to layer in the front, to graduated, to a mix of layering and graduation. So basically, and again, it's not a matter of taste. You might like these pictures, maybe you absolutely don't, but this is not the goal of today. The fact that I put together some pictures here, it's not it is not just for please the eyes, it's only to open, introduce our conversation into the world of the hair. For example, here you can see three similar type of classic graduated bob, which are really, really classy, if I would say, if I can say. Also nice color, especially the blondes are really nice. Also the brown is interesting too. And then there is on the lower left side, a kind of, I would say, halo or ball, layered ball, which is interesting too. I really like this shape. But again, it's not a matter of what I do like or what you do like. It's more about, as I said, understanding, because this is what is the core of this class. Again, some other interesting picture here, like, some of them, they're a bit more, I would say, graphic, right? More sharp. Other, they're a tiny bit more soft. And I do like all of them, really like all of them. Then we can, so basically, just to go back a little bit, so we went from medium length to long length, bob shapes, right? Medium bob, again, some medium and some a bit shorter here. And here we go through the longer hair and longer, maybe layer, like the right one. I mean, plus she has a very, very Californian blonde. The point is, and once again, it is a matter of, when we talk about haircut, it is, of course, everyone can develop their own creativity, and everyone can, let's say, follow, some type of mood or style. However, when we think about any of these, for example, shapes that I just went through and shared with you, there are some principles which are, they are basically connecting all of them, okay? And when I talk about principles, the first things that we have in mind, it is okay. Well, first of all, what a principle is, what is what principles? What do you mean by principles? And we mean this one. Basically, we like to, when we teach in general, one of the rules, one of the, the most valuable point that we have in mind and we keep in mind, it is the fact that we only teach by using principles. We also live by principles, but when we talk about haircut or teaching, it is very dramatically important. So basically, a principle is something that is universal, which means, for example, if I hold a pen in my hand, I lift it from the table, right? And then I just open my hand. What's going to happen? This pen falls again back to the table, and this happens because there is a gravity, and this is the principle of gravity. So gravity means there is a force, a power which is attracting the objects towards itself, and that's thanks to the gravity. And this gravity is happening basically here as, I don't know, in Africa, in India, in Russia, in US or whatever. It's the same everywhere. So it's called universal. Excuse me. Then we have the fact that it is timeless. I mean, this principle was reliable yesterday, 2 days ago, a week ago, a month ago, years ago. We always been affected by these power, you know, and I mean, nobody has the crystal sphere, but we probably can assume that even tomorrow the gravity is going to affect ourself, objects, and so on. Also, principles often are like natural law, and gravity is absolutely a natural law. It's not the only principle we're going to use when we think about haircutting, but it's important to understand that what we're going to use is basically connected to the natural law. Some of them or many of them are also evident. If we, for example, speak about color, we can teach about, when we speak about primary colors and secondary colors and so on.
Francesco, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I think you forgot to click on the share screen, because we...
Seriously?
Yep.
No way. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm getting old, guys. That's the reason why. Oh my God. Okay, so I need to go just quickly back. Thank you.
No,
See, that's the reason why I did ask you to come.
No, I thought it was because I was co-hosting, I didn't see it, but then I asked to Jack.
Yeah, very good, and thank you again for that. Okay, so basically these are the images that I was talking about before. It's incredible. You know, from shorter, medium, long, some very classy bob, graduated. This is a little bit more sharp, a bit more avant-garde. And these are, you know, layered, long, really long hair. And basically what I was saying about principle is the fact that, as I said, they are universal, they are timeless, they are basically natural law, and they are self-evident. As I was saying, for example, if we teach, no matter what, if we teach hair cutting or we teach hair coloring, what we do have, if you just take a drop of yellow and a drop of blue, you will discover by yourself that the color result by mixing those two is going to be green. So, and this is a principle and is a natural law. It's happening wherever you are in the world, and it was happening yesterday, it's going to happen today, and it's going to happen tomorrow again. And last and not least is the fact that by teaching, by sharing, using principles or connecting what you're doing with explanation, or let's say explaining what you're doing by using principles, literally in our mind, we got a better understanding, because we are using our neurological connection. So it is empowering the learning. That being said, it is also important to understand why we do need that, why we do need to learn by principles. The first thing is the fact that if we know things, if we understand, okay, let's say things, learning things, it requires memorization, okay, because this is a really important point. Learning things, it requires memorization, but understanding is forever. So it means that you can learn a a poem, you can learn a phrase, you can learn a quote, and you can memorize it. So you will be able to repeat, right? The same point. But it doesn't allow you to extend this learning. If you want to extend this learning, then it's a matter of understanding and not just memorizing. Okay, so that is the big difference between those 2 points. So if you understand things and by using the principle, basically your mind will elaborate this learning and it will create something new, something that is basically, let's say, digested from yourself. So this will extend, actually not extend, it will unleash, unleash your inner creativity, help you to be more creative. Many people, including myself, I have to say, felt at least one time in life, in our professional life, not creative enough. And that's the reason why we need to go and be inspired from other colleagues. I mean, here we have Jesus, which is an incredible, super creative artist, for example. And of course, when you see him working, you are inspired. That's fantastic. However, this is trying to, steal in a little bit of what he is capable to do. Different is that when you are working with him and he help you how to, from what he's doing, but also using your mind and your, I would say, your reflection, really your inner reflection. So that it transformed that learning, that message in something that is belonging to you, and it will help you to extend, expand, or unleash your creativity. So that is the reason why we use principles. Also, and this is actually, I tell you, one of the things that, I have to say, this is a personal story. One of the things that happens to me when I was, let's say, mainly speaking, when I was behind the chair. I was owning already a salon. I was much younger, of course, and not I mean, very, very less expert. But I remember the first few years, couple of years, I wasn't that good doing things, or especially cutting the hair. I remember that it happens that I got clients when I was cutting the hair, and at the end they were even quite happy. At the end you recognize when you do something good, that it's not only pleasing yourself, but it's also making the clients happy. You can recognize that, right? So, and that was nice. You just say, oh, good job today, good haircut, great job, Francesco. So that is great. However, the problem, it comes when the client's coming back after 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depends, and she's saying to you, oh, Francesco, the last haircut was one of the best of my life. I really like it. I really enjoy it. Can you do it? Can you repeat? Can you do it again? Can you just, I want it again. So, and here is the point. Here comes the problem. Here comes the nightmare, I would say, because it is the moment where actually you even don't know how did you get there, because it was not a precise procedure that helped you to get there. It was not a path or a pathway to be followed to get to that point. So this becomes a problem. So of course you try to follow what you can, and and you do your best. However, you feel yourself that you are not structured enough to simply having in mind a process to to break down the shape you have done in simple steps, which are somehow helping you to not only to create when you create the first time, but also to recreate in a second time, which it doesn't mean that it becomes boring or repetitive. It's simply helping you out to have successful procedure also for haircut. Last and not least, this is one of the things I always have in mind. I have to say, I made a couple of days ago, I was writing down I was doing an exercise, which is a gratefulness exercise. Write down what you have done good in life and why are you grateful for. And one of the things that I came through, it is the fact that in my career, probably I've been in touch in 25 years of teaching careers, okay? A little bit more in terms of hairdressing, but 25 years of teaching careers. I've been in touch with over 30,000 hairdressers, right? I went through literally over 1,000 classes. I mean, it's incredible. These numbers are really incredible, and I'm really grateful to this life for that, because it helps. I mean, I have to say, I'm still in love with this job. This is really what I like to do. It's a matter of sharing, inspiring, supporting the growth of people, helping other people to find the inner love, what they really love to do. And one of the things that many hairdressers told me, especially owners, told me during this career, this journey, it's the fact that they often have difficulties with the team. Means a lot of salons are salons directors, salon managers, or owners. They are struggling to get from their team what they want. And I have to say that I did, especially for the Italian market, I have to say, for several years, I've been consulting in a salon. So I really seen the reality of the things. I really seen many salons from the north to the south of this market, for this beautiful land. What I discovered that often happened that, it's easier to point finger out, means, I told you, when we talk about this conversation between a stylist and owner, and the owner maybe is delegating some job or some task to the stylist, and what as a result, maybe it's not exactly what was the owner expecting. And if we do an analysis of this process, it's not only a process of transformation with the hands, of hair transformation, it's also often a process of communication. And sometimes we pretend that other people, they understand what we have in mind, but without having a specific way to communicate or a precise language to communicate. So this is something that helps us basically to stay stick to the fact that we do use a principle because we want to make sure that people will not only learn from us, but really and deeply understanding what we do and why we do it. And by using principle also, it's easier to get a language which is universal. And it's easy to help you out to be more creative, to recreate what you do, beautiful things that you do, and also to communicate with your team or with your peers. So that is the reason, the main reason why. So I'm going back to a picture that was one of the picture that was in the previous slides. And I want to underline the fact that I really, actually, this is personal taste. I really like this haircut because somehow it is, I would say, a bit, let's say, it helps, to me, this is communicating that strength, personality. It's not sharp, even though, because it's, you can see, it's a little bit texturized. However, it looks like sharp. I really like. This is, I would say, a modern, classy, kind of modern, classy with full of personality haircut. Now, I don't want to talk about style. I'd like to talk about I'd like to talk about the elements of a haircut. So basically, elements of a haircut. Every single shape, it can be observed, I would say, in at least 3 different layers or 3 different depths. Okay, and I'm going through this now. For example, when we observe, I mean, how can we? I mean, because that is one of the things that often happens to people, right? Also in the classes we teach, we have people, they come, or even your client, let's make an example, easier example. Your client is now coming in your salon with a lot of, they have, they come in your salon, they in your chair, they have a phone, and this phone basically with this technology, they basically can get any type of pictures out, maybe some celebrities look or some other, whatever look that they like in the network. So they come to you, they show you a picture. Back in time, they were coming with a piece of editorial magazine, folded in the pocket or in the purse, and they were opening, oh, I like that, I want to have that. Now it's much easier. You can get even more than before. I mean, it's easier to find examples, but then it's up to you, it's up to us to being able to do it, right? So when they ask for, let's pretend that this is an example of look that the client wants to get from us. Okay, I'm gonna drink some water, guys. And if this is the look that she's looking for, so how can we break down this look, decomposing this look, and then being able to use what it comes from this analysis and breakdown in order to being able then to have a pathway that is moving ourselves or the hair from the actual situation to the final objective, right? So the first things to observe is the perimeter, okay? So the first element of an haircut is the perimeter. And as you can see, it is actually is the line, is the line determined by the ends of the length, okay? Now, Once we have observed that, what we need to understand it is what is the silhouette. So it means, okay, the space, the full space that the hair occupy in the three-dimensional space. Basically, it's like you know, the Chinese shadow, Chinese shadow, I think is the right name. You know, you have a white fabric with a light in the back, and you can make a movement. You see only black and white shape, right? And this is what is called the silhouette. The silhouette allowed to us to understand where the volume are placed, basically. Okay, so if this one helps us to understand where the length of the whole hairline and perimeter, so basically the perimeter are basically ending and what type of line are creating. This is basically understanding where is the volume placed in the three-dimensional areas. Last, not least, is understanding the texture. I mean, if we think about these, you can see that I did add on top of this picture a lot of red dots. These red dots, basically, they are representing the, let's say, the amount of graduation, or if we want to say graduation or layering, that is present in this haircut. It means that from a certain, for example, from here, right, from this point here to this point here, you can see, basically, you can see all the graduated or layered part. Okay, so there is almost, I would say, there is no layer at all in this area here. These are from here, the hair, they ends here and here, and this is really helping things to that observation, because you from understanding the lower length, understanding the type of volume distribution that you have, and understanding where are the shorter ends ending, you can start to imagine the type of connection between a shorter point here and a longer point here. Okay, so you basically, with the experience, you can understand what type of procedure do I need to have to do that. And also it really helps out to break down this shape. Okay, so basically what we need to understand as a next step is this. So if we think about, okay, we have been through the three elements, okay, which are perimeter, silhouette, and texture. Now we're going to understand the principle of movement. Okay, principles of movement. What do I mean by saying, okay, principle of movement? I do mean that when we cut hair, and now I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna take this mannequin here. So I'm gonna show you in a second, okay? So when we cut hair, we use three movements, okay? The first one is elevation, okay? We elevate the hair. The second one is over direction, okay? So up and down, elevation, over direction, side to side. And the third one, it is, excuse me, The third one is a finger angle, the angle of my finger that determine the length, okay? So now I'm going to stop to share the screen for a moment, just because I want to make sure that it's clear what I'm talking about, okay? All right, here we go. Gianluca, please feel free to add things, okay? So basically, when we think about the three movement here, so we do have elevation of the hair, right? So when we take section, no matter what is vertical or horizontal, doesn't matter, okay? From the natural falling position, as soon we start to lift the hair, this is the elevation, right? Or here is the face, guys. I'm sorry. Or if we take a section and we move the hair backward or forward, okay? So every time we move the hair in one direction or in another one of the side is going to be longer or shorter. This is again a physical principle, so you can't avoid that. That's why we go back to the beginning, which I stressed a little bit about principles, but that is really important that we understand why.
Oh yeah, and then I think that the mind-blowing thing is that if you think about it, apart from the personalization and the detailing thing, all the haircuts of the world, they actually been made with just these three principles.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. This is, if you think about that, it's so easy. Oh my goodness, really? Every haircut can be done in this way? And the answer is yes. It's incredible. So basically, what is missing is still the last one, which is the finger angle that we were talking about. For example, right? Okay, I'm going to grab the other mannequin, blonde mannequin back here. Okay, so just give me a second. So here we go. So basically, what we have here, if I'm cutting a bob, right, like this one, right? So basically, my finger angle here, which is a slightly diagonal forward, is what is determining what? Is determining the cutting line, but this is in this case is determining the perimeter of the mannequin, right? Or so, and it can be, again, it can be used in horizontally, right? But also can be used vertically, right? So when we work with a graduation and vertical section, so this angle here, which is the angle of the graduation, is basically created by the way we angled our fingers. So again, so by using these three movements, these three actions, we definitely create shapes. Now, what is what I'm going back to share a couple of things, more things, and then we're going back to the hair. Okay, let me share the screen this time, so I avoid to get back again. Just a second. Oops, here we go. Can you see my screen, guys? No, I don't think so. Yeah. Okay, I'm going back again. There we go. You should see my screen now.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So what I have here, it is a very classic, I would say, breakdown system. Okay. As you see, I also put pivot point as a phone, as a source of where this is coming from. And what I'm saying, it's not that our core cutting is based on a pivot point system. However, there are some principles that they can't be get away from there because are literally the foundation of everything. Okay, so the things that we can see here is that the first on top, the first line on top here is representing a kind of one length bob, means everything that is means all the hair, they are arriving at one level and they are all cut at the same level. So you get the maximum weight, right? Or in the second hand, you have this second row here, where you can start to see some texture right here. Can you see the texture here, right? And this is right there. Okay, this is the part which the texture is activated, and this is a graduation. Actually, as the blonde mannequin I did show you just before. Okay, now the next point is when we have long, not. I mean, I would say it's not that they need to be long. However, the lengths are so the layer are definitely short hair in the top and long hair in the bottom. Once here, the previous two, these two here are longer in the top and shorter in the bottom. In this one, it's short on top, long in the bottom. Okay, so this is it's important to understand. You basically have different type of length progression. Okay, now this one, last one here, is basically still the feeling of layering, but every single hair has the same length. So it means if you have 10 cm in the front, you have 10 cm in the back. Okay, this is called uniform layers. Now, again, it's not because we wanted to go and promote pivot point. Also, we're not completely using the same classification, but we can't get rid from these four hair progression length. There is nothing more. I mean, all the rest is combination, but you can't get a different type of progression, okay? It doesn't exist, let's say. Okay, that being said, what we as I said, that other possibility doesn't exist, okay? Now, so then the question, it comes this one. Okay, so if we may like, let me say, something that is here, or something that is here, or something that is here, okay? So how can we do it then, right? How can we do it? And the answer is here. So basically, most of the time, when we see an image, when we see a look that we do like, or when we maybe sketch something ourselves, so, or we imagining something ourselves, and we want to do create something, it's not that you need to know. I mean, you need to know how to do it, but it's not what I'm trying to say, that we need to learn how to see a full haircut, not as a big animal, you know, to break down, but to see that as a puzzle. So, oh, sorry guys, I didn't translate this. So as a puzzle, which means when a puzzle is something beautiful when it's done, right? And because you can see the full image of what is represented there. However, you know, the puzzle is basically made by smaller pieces, smaller singular pieces, which they have a piece of image that itself, it doesn't count anything. But when it comes working in synergy all together, you get the full image out. An haircut, it is exactly the same. An haircut is basically a puzzle, and it's a matter of subdividing the head according to the piece that you need to bring there. Okay, so this is what we wanted to share till here. So now I'm gonna stop this to share the screen, and I do want to touch the hair a little bit. And I have to say that there is nothing pre-planned here, because I'm not here today to teach you a specific look. Absolutely, it's not the intent. It's more about talking. Talking about hair cutting. And what I'm gonna do is, I actually see. I just took a mannequin that it was partially pre-cut here, and this is the way I'm working in this period. Just you know, breaking pieces here and there and talking about what we just shared in the previous slides. Okay. So here, basically what we need is just few clips. Okay, got my clips here. And I think I'm gonna start in the front, actually. And in the meantime, I'm going to cut the hair. I will add some content. So basically, what I want to do here, it is okay, let me see if you can see. We need to get a little bit closer, maybe. Let me see. All right, probably like that. It's good? Yeah?
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna start here.
Nice to see the village as well. To see you at the village is nice.
Yeah, the weather today is not fantastic, but the weather is good. And actually, it's so silent. You know, it's still quite empty. Okay, so basically, I'm taking the first section here, which is a vertically taken. And this section is arriving up to, not to the top, but simply naturally is creating a triangle by itself. Okay. Now, here we're going to decide, and here we're going to basically use the three principles, right? Which we were talking about before, the principle of movement. So one is the elevation, the other one is the over direction, and the other one is the finger angle. Okay, now, in this case, I'm not going to move anything, means I'm staying just in front, just to understand, you know, I'm staying in front of the natural fall, simply elevating out horizontally the hair. And with my comb, I really comb through the section, and I'm putting my fingers vertically. So basically, the elevation is horizontal, right? Parallel to the floor, and the cutting line is vertical. Okay, now, what I want to do, actually, no, no, it's good, actually, it's good, vertical. So we stay vertical, okay? The length is gonna be along the fringe. And I'm cutting the hair from dry, guys, because the only thing that I can do in order to let you understand the action, reaction, okay? So it would be great to have the time, having the time for blow drying the hair, but unfortunately it would be boring for who is watching, and it would be also noisy. So we're trying to avoid to have these moment of blow drying, especially in not being live, physical live, I'm saying. Okay, so now, as you can see, as I said, it's gonna create quite a long fringe, right? I'm gonna take a next section, so same size, you know, starting from the natural fold, elevating out horizontally. But this time, I'm going to move the hair towards the previous section. So let me see if I can show you in this way. So basically that was, okay, let me comb the hair back down. Okay, see? Now, I'm gonna take this part here and I'm gonna move it on top of the previous. So basically this one, because it's moving towards here, is gonna be a little bit longer. Okay, so again, so we use principle to really think how to build, how to manage volumes and weight placement. All right, so I'm going to, again, horizontal elevation, right? And vertical finger angle. So I can see my base in my finger, my cutting line, and I'm simply following that. Of course, cutting from dry, I have to say that we probably lose a little bit of precision because the hair tends to slide a little bit more. But I'm sure I can, you know, it's going to be helpful anyway. Okay. All right. So see, I already can see. I want to show you here. Where is my? Okay, here is the nose. I want to show you that you probably can already see that the first one is a little bit shorter than the second one. So in this way, we're basically elongating the length, you know, progressing the length, but also because we were elevating out horizontally, okay? And with the finger angle that was vertical, the fringe is getting, you see the graduation of the fringe? Is there quite delicate, right? It's nice. So now, I'm going ahead, okay? I'm going ahead in the same way. I'm gonna add another section, same size section, right? And elevating out, and again, directing towards the previous one. So there is a little bit of movement in this one too, okay? All right, here we go. I do have in between my finger always a piece of the previous base here. Okay. I have to say that I took with me a mannequin that we did created in one of our previous class. I think was Gianluca, one of the, I don't remember, was the Czech Republic class when we did hidden color mixed to pure colors application. And I really like to see how this color is coming out. So we basically pre-lightened, if you remember, we pre-lightened the head underneath here. And then we did use a pastel color from pure color, pastel dilution.
Yeah, it's cool. The effect on this technique is, it's cool as well with the haircut.
Yeah, I think it's coming out quite well.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to take another same size, same width section. Okay, And now probably a bit more of length they're going to coming out, okay? So here we go, here we go. Oops, my comb is live. All right, here. Luckily, there is nobody here. Only me, my mannequin, and you guys digitally connected. Okay, so now again, I'm combing the hair from right. So basically I'm moving forward the section exactly in the same manner we did for the previous one. Now, because this section is a little bit too high, I'm going to drop down a little bit of this section and we'll cut into different steps. So here we go, see? I got my base length in between my finger, and I use it as a reference, as a guideline. Yeah. Now, as I said, sometimes from dry you miss to cut some pieces because they are getting out from your fingers. Yeah, right. I love it. Look, see what happened? Now we have, you know, this. It's not a usual way to cut the hair. This, especially graduation. Quite often, graduation is used in the back to create something more like that. But I really love it. And actually, this is super cool and very actual. And I tell you, I didn't plan anything. I got a few mannequins down there in lines that I just picked because I like the color, or some are half pre-cut. And what I want to use is principles just to show you what things are creating, okay? Not to teach you an haircut specific one, okay? Now, I'm gonna take a next section out. Okay, there we go. And as you can see, actually I said I'm gonna take my clips, but I'm not using anyone because here's one of the things that I learned. One of the best friends of the haircut is the natural fall position. When you comb the hair down carefully, without affecting them too much, actually trying to affect them at all, okay? So what you can do then in order to improve the control and the precision of your haircut, if you want, it is the fact that you simply touch the hair with the comb where you want the separation, right? Now, and then you keep it and you elevate it out. So in this way, it's so easy to get precise sectioning, much more than if you use your comb to trace and draw every single section. So again, here I'm elevating out the hair horizontally, right? And taking my fingers following the previous cutting line, which now I will show you something interesting. It seems that it's not anymore that much vertical. And the reason why is because we are moving the hair in a different position from where they stand. And so the cutting line, due to the roundness of the head and the size of the head at different levels, the cutting line moves from being vertical straight to being slightly diagonal with the volume, the most longer part in the bottom side. And it is normal. It's not a mistake. It happens due to effect of the length of the hair is affected by the roundness of the head. Many people, they are scared. Oh, it's not anymore vertical, so you should adjust your finger angle. Well, you can do it, but if you do it, then you're gonna lose length up and down here. Okay, you're gonna lose these length here. It's gonna be shorter. Okay, so it's never a matter of right or wrong. It's only a matter of understanding the reason why, which is one is a different result from the other one. That's it. Okay. All right. So as we were saying, I mean, the color is even, you know, it's fabulous. It's coming up the color, which is very, very cool. Very nice. Now, I need to elevate a little bit more the mannequin. Okay. Luckily, I can pull the neck of this beautiful model. Right. So here, one more section here. Same procedure. Comb the hair naturally. Simply put the comb where you want the section open, right? And open the section like this. There you go. Following again the previous cutting line. Oh, I love it. Really, really love it.
So it's great because it's kind of the actual natural fall and the actual shape of the head is guiding you because it's changing the guide while you walking through.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it took a while to me to understand that process. Actually, you know, when I have to explain is still, it's still not that easy. I mean, for example, because these, I mean, if we go level by level, okay, for example, we go down level by level, right? The head size is bigger or smaller, right? Smaller at the top and bigger, 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 and then go back and again smaller. So, and that is what is basically affecting my cutting line, because when you elevate out straight without any movement, there is no problem. But the problem is when as soon you start to move back or forward, so basically some hair, they're getting, see my hands, some hair they're getting longer, some hair they're getting short. So it's literally the movement. If I mean, let's say the head size is affecting the length of the hair once it has been elevated and over directed. And so this is exactly what is happening. Also, thanks to the color, we can see this line here, which is important to be seen. Can you see the dark line finishing here, right? So this is happening basically in diagonal backward, exactly because every single section is over-directed forward, right? So it means the progression of the increasing of the length is in the opposite direction of where the hair are cut, okay? Again, plus, as we were saying before, here we do have a perimeter, right? Perimeter can also be changed afterwards. So it's not that it's gonna be, it has to remain exactly as it is. If we don't like it, we can make it sharper or even softer. This is something that is up to us. What we can see is that from the top, right there till where my scissor is now, and you can see the line of color here, this hair here it's in not activated texture. So basically you can see active texture only from the line downwards, where you do have all the ends visible, okay? And that is help us to understand, because now we know that this is the maximum length of this point, and this is the shorter length. Now, if we had to repeat these, I don't know, if I didn't know how to do it, what I have to understand here is basically, okay, this is the maximum length, and this is the shorter length. Okay, where are these connected? That is the only thing that we need to understand. And the exercise that has to be done is basically this one, okay? So now I'm going to complete this part here in the back again, okay? Just combing nicely down. There we go. Taking one more section, see, I'm really pinching the section out, and then with the comb, I will distribute out. Okay, so here we go. Now, I'm exactly in front of the section, but I want to over-direct it a little bit forward, okay? Section by section, as we did before. Now, in between my fingers, I do have a little bit of the last base, the last cut, the last section, right? And that helps me to establish, or actually not establish, simply following the previous length. See, I'm cutting this section in 3 different steps, because now we are incorporating also the nape. There we go. And I have to say that I really like cutting in reverse mode. I mean, the coloring does a very good job here, because it helps also probably from home to understand exactly what is coming out, right? And I'm taking one more section here in the back. There you go. See, a piece of the old one, of the previous one. Elevating out, okay? Now, I'm using the comb from right to left, so I can push the section towards the previous one. It comes quite automatic and natural then. There you go. One more section down here. There we go. So, as you can see, still not finished, but the length here is getting very longer, much longer, right? We're going to cut these pieces away. Maintaining always the elevation horizontally out, right? I think I still have 2 sections. Maybe not, maybe even less probably. Let's see. Yeah, just last one here. That goes to the previous. And as you can see, my finger angle is getting, longer underneath, much longer underneath, and I started vertical. But I always follow the previous guidelines, so I never change my my finger angle by intention, right? It basically, I simply followed what was the head shape creating for me. All right, so what's going on here is that we do have a little bit of disconnection in the perimeter. I'm just double checking, okay? It's everything good. So what you can see here in the perimeter, it is exactly what happened in terms of hairlines, okay? Then, now, we might like these length here, or maybe not. So we can then decide to keep it or simply to chop it out and design our the perimeter as we do like it. Okay. Now, I'm going to move in the other side here, and actually, I actually don't want to do something symmetrical. I'm thinking what we can do here. I think I'm going to do the opposite. Actually, I'm going to go shorter in this case. Okay, I really like the left side of this mannequin, and I'm going to do something crazy on the right side, which is instead of moving the external part of the fringe towards the center, I'm going to move the center towards towards the corner of the fringe. So it's going to be basically a symmetrical fringe, starting from the center where we basically start to cut the hair. So which means I do have my first section, right? And now, oh, actually I need to lower down a little bit the mannequin so it's easier. Let me see if I can show you. There we go. There we go. So elevate horizontally out, right? And cut these. Basically, I'm using the first section of the fringe, pushing it on top of the new section. So what is going to happen is going to be shorter, a little bit shorter on the left side. Next section, again, taking a piece of this and a piece of the new one, and moving these previous cutted section towards the new one. And what is going to happen here is that at this time, you probably can see, I'm going to show you better, guys. Give me just a second that I complete this. So we started vertical. And before we were moving the new section towards the pre-cut, and the fingers were basically moving in, the finger angle was basically getting diagonal with the length, maximum length underneath. Now I'm moving in the opposite direction, and what is going to happen is that from vertical, we're going to get the maximum length on the top. You probably can see it a little bit that the fringe here is going upward, okay? And here is going downward. So here is going to be shorter, slightly, because I'm moving a little bit. Just getting to the corner of the fringe, right there. I don't want to keep more there. Here we go. That's it. Corner of the fringe. In this case, I'm going to use my clip just to keep these separated. Okay. So this is the last piece of fringe. And I really want to notice, you guys notice the finger angle. Can you see that is longer on the top and shorter in the bottom? There we go, one here. See, again, you probably can see that the fringe is now getting shorter, right? We're not building this length here, but basically we're really short here. And this happens just by inverting the over direction from one to the other side, right? Now, it's kind of cool.
Are you working on the base or are you working on the previous?
I'm working on the next one, not the previous. Means the pre-cut, the cut one is going to the next.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird because usually we do the opposite. But so basically the base is moving towards the new section. Okay, now we need to decide what to do here. And I'm saying that because I can continue. I think I can continue without movement here, or it's going to be, if we continue to move this length towards the next one, the line of the graduation is going to go up here. And when you go too short here, usually it's not that nice, okay? So I'm gonna try to control these cutting line to continue more or less horizontally, okay? And to make that happen, I will be basically match, let's say, meet the two sections in between, halfway. So in taking a bit of previous section here and a bit of new section, and I'm exactly staying in the middle, okay? So probably you can see better here. There you go. And as you can see, my finger angle is longer on top. It's basically creating length on top. It's possible that we will need a bit of texturizing afterwards because especially on the mannequin, which are really full of weight, it might be too strong, the line. But let's see what happens. Again, next section here, which is there we go. In the middle between those two. I lost a little bit of control, so I left it down, but I'm going to take it again. Here we go. Yeah, I definitely can see that is very strong, the line that is coming out, but let's see, let's continue. Okay, we still have a few minutes to stay together, and few sections actually. So it's we're perfectly in time. once again, you see, I mean, what's going to happen here, elevation is still consistent, horizontal. Finger angle is diagonal, volume up. And the more I'm going in the backward, and the more the finger angle is affected by the roundness of the head, which I want to be clear, it's not a mistake. It is simple, it's simply affected more by the shape of the head.
Yeah, but it's a nice way to go around the head like this.
It is cool, actually. If we, I mean, actually, there is no blow drying. The mass of the quantity of the hair of the mannequin is quite impressive, and we know. And I have to say that it's actually not too bad. I'm just elevating a tiny bit more, right? There you go. There we go. See, my fingers are pretty diagonal now, almost 45 degrees with the volume on top. And so basically what we did learn today, again, it is not a specific shape, which is basically we're literally playing with the hair, but is understanding what does it means elevation, what does it means over direction, and what does it means finger angle. And this is one of the first things that we, let's say, we learn in this process, in this, let's say, program, which is called the core cutting, which will, as I said, is probably the most advanced basic class, or it's the most advanced foundation class, because it's completely, it's a journey, it's a no eye-opener journey into the haircut composition, into the full, I would say, full understanding of shapes, perimeter, texture, and silhouette, and so on, also the control of the shape by using these elements that we did share today. We're going to repeat this class tomorrow morning, just in case you want to join again. You go on Facebook, Davines Education, and you click going. And tomorrow, of course, I will take another mannequin and probably will do some different type of work. Next week, we're gonna get a pause just for, we have international Davines Artistic Team meeting, which is going to be held live, of course, digital. So we're not going to get these classes, but the week after we're going to get back, and so in case you want to join us, okay? So as you can see, I still have literally a very little piece of hair here, so I'm going to cut that. Actually, it's not that's small. I think I need to do it on purpose. But this mannequin was pre-cut. So shape, the final shape is not going to look connected, and I'm not worried about that, just because, as I said, it is not about teaching a specific look, but it is about understanding what the movement creates. Okay, yeah. One more here. As you can see, I mean, there was already a graduation underneath. I do have these two little pieces that I want to cut before, you know, getting to the end. See, okay. Holding these out. Here we go. See, it's quite diagonal finger angle here to connect to what is underneath. Oops. Still have something here. Again, vertical section, elevation is horizontal. Finger angle is, I would say, diagonal 45, volume up. And this is quite creating a nice classic type of graduation in the back. Here we go. And we have reached the final, the other side. There's still a little bit, but I think it can, of course, it's not that nice in the back, but I think it's interesting here, you know, because we did some, it's interesting the fact that even though we didn't made any progression, right? We have a line that goes to up to the here, and then as soon the here, the head shape is returning internal. You still have a line that is going a little bit upward. So it's really, really interesting. What I do like the most is, of course, this side, which I have to say that I would probably, let me take my stools here, I would probably, you know, work just to get a bit more of shape, or I mean, I will work it out, and maybe I will take a picture and post it on Facebook later. So, I mean, personally, I want to say thank you so much for those of you who have been with us today in this hour and a half, in these 90 minutes. As I said, our hope to get to the intention we wanted, which was not to share any specific look, but simply to talk about haircutting and principles and movement, and also letting you aware that we have fantastic program in our educational portfolio about, I mean, in this case, haircutting, but as you can see, the mannequin was colored, so we have fantastic color program. We're leading to having a fantastic pathway of business very soon. So stay in touch with us. Thank you for taking your time off to follow us. And for those of you who are available and they want to see something different tomorrow morning, because I'm sure about the hair is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be live again tomorrow morning, or we'll be back here in 2 weeks. And I want to say once again, thank you to Gianluca that was with me co-hosting, ready to support in case. I'm going to close. Thank you, Gianluca. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. And Jesus, I want to say thank you for joining us, and to all of the other people. Again, best wishes for the continuation of the day. Thank you so much. Love you. Love you guys.
Ciao, ciao.